for 50 years.
There's so much in this world we can learn, no matter how young or how old we are.
The faces have changed.
Wasn't that terrific?
Bon appetit!
Unbelievable.
The places have changed.
I want them to love me.
The world has changed.
Landing a man on the moon before this decade is out?
We're going further than we've ever gone before.
Yes!
But our vision stays the same.
Whoa. This is an incredible story.
Whoa!
The world keeps moving.
I have chills.
But our mission never wavers.
What defines us is our minds and our hearts.
How about that?
What an amazing family.
Always seeking.
This is totally amazing.
What's next?
I was raised to believe, despite where I came from,
That I could literally be anything I wanted to be.
Stay curious.
Hello and welcome to our second annual WGCU Annual Report. I wish I could be with you in person this year, but we'll do our best to provide you with an informative and entertaining virtual experience on what has been an extraordinary year for all of us. And first up, we have a message for you from Jim Hale, Vice Chair of the WGCU Advisory Board.
Good evening and welcome, everybody. I am Jim Hale, Vice Chair of the Public Media Advisory Board of WGCU. I'm pinch hitting tonight for Judy Bricker, our chair, who is unable to be with us. Our board is made up of 15 members, and our role is to represent the community voice at WGCU, to ensure inclusiveness and broad content, and we fundraise to raise 60% of the budget. We provide public input to government agencies. Our bylaw provides that we're supposed to provide advice and feedback regarding the FM and TV portions of our programming. That's what makes WGCU great. We assist WGCU staff in formulating and executing educational outreach programs and lifelong learning opportunities. I'm proud to serve, but because we're the #1 PBS station in prime time and weekend viewing, WGCU punches above its weight, as many people say. We reach out to more people in Southwest Florida than any other nonprofit organization. I'd like to welcome 5 new members who are just joining our board this year and will provide immense additional strength to our organization. That's Mike Hirsch, Linda Penniman, Zuleika Quintero, Rick Solem, and Steve Vesey. I'd also like to thank Mindy Simon for her years of service to our board as she finishes her term at this point. Let me remind you that this board is a volunteer board and that WGCU has many volunteers that help with events, fundraising, radio reading service, and all other activities when circumstances allow. This year, as we all know, we're living through a pandemic. There were limited opportunities for volunteers on site, but we'll anticipate that this will change in the future. If folks would like to volunteer, reach out to Ann Stavely at WGCU. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge that this is Rick Johnson's last year at the helm. I want to thank him for his years of service. I look back on the term I've spent on this board, and I regard Rick as a good friend and a great leader. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Jim, for your remarks and for your years of support of WGCU. Jim also serves as the chair of the advisory board's all-important development committee. Since we aren't able to meet in person this year, we thought it might be an appropriate thing to offer you a virtual tour of the Myra Janko Daniels Public Media Center, home to WGCU TV and FM and its staff of media professionals. Well, I hope you enjoyed that tour and meeting some of the friendly faces behind the programs and services that WGCU provides our coverage area 365 days a year. You know, our annual report is available online at wgcu.org/about, and the print versions will soon be available. Our broadcast coverage area includes all or parts of 12 counties in South and Southwest Florida, with a population of more than about 1.7 million residents. You know, WGCU TV was ranked #1 as the most watched PBS station in the country in market penetration in both prime time, which you're seeing right now, and in the next slide in whole week viewing. So that means we reached nearly 80% of all of the households in our coverage area over the course of a year. That means 446,000 households in Southwest Florida. It's an impressive figure, and WGCU is proud to be the most watched public television station in the country. Our content teams were busy creating programs focused on Southwest Florida. In August of 2019, Southwest Florida shared the national stage with Detroit and North Carolina in the WGCU co-production Family Pictures USA. The three-part PBS series celebrated the amazing diversity of each area, and the hour-long Southwest Florida program was seen in more than 770,000 homes across the United States. We also created some appetizer-sized programs featuring some of the more eclectic and flavorful dining opportunities available locally in our Curious Cuisine series. And we came to dabble in the dark arts, introducing Maria Midnight, hostess of our Nightmare Theater series. Let's take a look.
Join us on this journey, and you'll never see America the same way again. Family Pictures USA.
As local public television stations, we know local content is critical to serving our communities. But we also know that our local stories can resonate across the country. We're excited to tell you about Family Pictures USA, produced in close collaboration with 3 local PBS stations. The series brings to life the history of towns, cities, and regions, urban and rural, through the lens of the family photo album, but in a truly unique way. Family Pictures USA begins where most television programs end, with community engagement. These live community photo sharing events not only help us source amazing stories from our communities, but are also part of the production. Detroit Public TV, UNC TV, and WGCU worked with series creators to produce 3 one-hour episodes of Family Pictures USA. Stations were able to collaborate with local community partners such as historical societies, libraries, museums, and local funders, which helped to build capacity. With funding from CPB, the collaboration also included organizations that bring diverse and inclusive voices to public television. Family Pictures USA is a compelling concept that fosters collaboration and expands our understanding of history, our diversity, and our shared values.
Most of our recipes are hundreds of years of recipes. It's passed from generation to generation. We're talking about some of the recipes that come from way before Ottoman empires, which is like early 1400s, 1300s. Soldiers used to travel in all times. They hunted their food, so they cut the meat into pieces and put on their sword and cook it that way over the heat. So that's where the kebabs actually come from. Ephesus is an ancient Greek city, and also it's about 40 minutes away from my hometown.
In 2007, Barack left Turkey to accept a kitchen position at the Gasparilla Inn in Boca Grande at age 18. He met his wife Michelle in Florida and decided to stay.
Adana kebab is ground beef and lamb beef mixed. And we add our Turkish hot pepper paste and some imported spice from Turkey. We put the meat around our long skewer and then cook it over the char grill. No, we don't try to make it Americanized version of the food. We try to make it 100% Turkish. And I think that's what people like. We are serving our baklava. We do make a lot of Lebanese food here, Israeli, Greek, and The food is very similar because all those regions used to be under Ottoman Empire a long time ago. It's ground beef and lamb beef, and we mold the meat into like a cone shape. This is 20 pounds of meat, and then we put it in our vertical broiler and then cook it slowly. As it cooks, we shave it. Shawarma is basically the same thing, and, but different spices. And I think in Greek they call it gyro or hero. Everybody calls it different. But yeah, in Turkey we call it doner. Cooking is a big part of our culture. My mom used to cook all the time, so I start learning from her.
Barak and his family bring other aspects of Turkish culture to guests with musician and belly dancing performances. They first opened Ephesus in a 6-seat restaurant in Englewood in 2014, but grew out of it within a year. Their current restaurant lies near Boca Grande.
As well as local people, we have people coming from Tampa, Orlando, Miami, Naples, Fort Myers, Sarasota, all over the place. I'm a U.S. citizen also, and Turkish citizen, so I feel like I should carry them on my heart all the time.
'Tis the season, witches. Not that season, spooky season. The Skeleton Crew at PBS is dropping some eerie education with a new episode of Monstrum, featuring my favorite flesh-eating, decaying corpses. Zombies! Are they real or just fiction formed in the maniacal, macabre mind of George Romero? Aside from myself, Dr. Zarka is the #1 authority on all things that tap in your windows and hide under your bed.
Zombies can be broken down into 3 significant types. And this October, I'm dedicating an entire episode for each one of our undead friends.
So, get that go bag prepped and arm yourself with skull-crushing weapons and prepare for the zombie apocalypse. Pleasant screams.
Our small but mighty WGCU FM news team once again distinguished itself with its award-winning coverage of local news and events that touch the lives of listeners. The team received 15 regional awards for journalistic excellence, including 4 regional Edward R. Murrow Awards, 10 Florida Association of Broadcast Journalists Awards, including Station of the Year, and the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Award for Water Resource Coverage. WGCU FM and our satellite WMKO FM have a broadcast reach from Sarasota down to Everglades City and east to the western sections of Palm Beach, Broward, and Dade counties, and the stations boast a cumulative audience of more than 141,000 loyal listeners weekly. But WGCU isn't just all about broadcast and digital engagement. This past year, we were one of 6 stations in the country chosen by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting to pilot a project called Move to Include. And this is an initiative that seeks to leverage the power of public media to include the differently abled in all aspects of life and work. In November 2019, we held a digital media workshop in partnership with Southwest Florida's Best Buddies organization, and the results were some of the most rewarding and impactful content that we had a hand in creating all year. Let's take a look.
In November of 2019, WGCU kicked off its Move to Include initiative with a digital storytelling workshop in partnership with Best Buddies of Southwest Florida. Best Buddies creates opportunities for one-to-one friendships, integrated employment, leadership development, and inclusive living for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. WGCU production staff served as mentors for Best Buddy teams as they learned film language, interviewing skills, production, and editing.
Can you find the button with the star on it?
The weekend culminated in a screening event where the buddy teams presented the videos they produced to friends and family.
The idea that at the end of the workshop, the kids are going to present their work is a key thing. Your work that you labored over is now being presented to an audience, and presenting your work to an audience makes it real. And that requirement is really essential to owning your work, number one. And two, the thing is that it helps kids become more confident.
You have a question?
Watch the videos on the WGCU Public Media YouTube channel. Learn more at wgcu.org/Move to Include. Move to Include is supported in part by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private corporation funded by the American people.
The COVID-19 pandemic created some technical and operational challenges for everyone at WGCU. Following the guidelines set out by the university, we began to operate almost 100% remotely during the third week in March. Morning Edition and All Things Considered were hosted from makeshift living room studios. Gulf Coast Live featured in-depth discussions with virologists and healthcare professionals on the state of the pandemic in Southwest Florida. All 5 of our TV streams and 3 radio streams continued uninterrupted, managed through remote connections and an abundance of engineering genius. In fact, WGCU was the only television and radio operation in Florida we know of that was operating 100% remotely through much of the spring and the early summer. Within 72 hours of the closing of Southwest Florida schools, WGCU TV introduced a new at-home learning program service segmented for elementary, middle, and high school grades that ran from 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Programming was supported online at wgcu.org by curriculum materials for students, teachers, and families, and daytime viewership jumped by 1/3 as a result. And in spite of the challenges posed by the pandemic, WGCU's content team found a way to shed light on the issues surrounding the social and racial justice movements triggered by the deaths of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. Local and national programming provided thoughtful, serious coverage of events that continued to rattle the country as summer wore on. None of the programming and services that WGCU provides would be possible without the financial and technical resources that our development and engineering teams provide. In March, our engineering staff wrapped up a $3.75 million renovation of key infrastructure. This project, funded by the state of Florida and the Federal Communications Commission, resulted in a state-of-the-art, fully redundant television and radio transmission facility that will serve WGCU and Southwest Florida for another 37 years. The work that took place over the course of 10 months and provided work crews in this remote location with some interesting wildlife experiences. WGCU's development team raised $4.7 million, inclusive of almost $600,000 in deferred gifts in fiscal 19 and 20. Our cash gifts increased by nearly $500,000 over the previous year. We increased our membership rolls by 4% to 16,000 individual donors. Our cash operating budget saw revenues of over $7 million, including over $4 million raised by the development team, $1.1 million coming from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, $859,000 coming from Florida Gulf Coast University, and $420,000 from the state of Florida. Also, we raised about $357,000 in contract grants and earned revenue through production, as well as $335,000 coming from the CARES Act funds that were appropriated in the spring by the U.S. Congress. Total expenditures came to over $6.4 million, including nearly $3 million in program production and program acquisition expenses. Philanthropic giving makes possible all that we do and achieve here at WGCU. WGCU continues to work with Florida Gulf Coast University on a $30 million campaign to upgrade equipment and build or fund our future endowment. Phase 2 of the campaign will help transform WGCU's commitment to local journalism, building a more robust digital platform, and provide educational opportunities for students to work alongside WGCU professionals in the field. To date, WGCU has raised almost $13 million in bequests, intents, pledges, and realized gifts toward that goal. These gifts provide a stable foundation for WGCU's ongoing operations and ensure that public media in Southwest Florida stays strong and vibrant for years to come. Now let's take a listen to an important message from one of our generous patrons.
When we're gone, we don't want our annual donation, the amount that we're able to give today, We don't want it to be gone. We've made provision to ensure that what we're doing today, what matters to us today, continues to get done. And I think anyone who can afford a few dollars, they need to not only be supporting WGCU today, but making sure that when they're gone, it's still getting their support.
None of what you've seen or heard me talk about today is possible without a dedicated, talented staff of professionals that believe in the power of public media and a committed volunteer advisory board that serves as the community sounding board and as WGCU ambassadors in the community. Our 40-strong staff breaks down along lines with 5 each in administration and finance, 7 in development and membership and corporate support activities, 8 in engineering and operations, and 15 staff devoted to content creation. Toby Cook, our longtime director of TV programming, retired after a remarkable 31 years of service to WGCU TV. Another notable milestones include Administrative Assistant Muriel Olson and Editor Brian Price, both of whom celebrated 20-year anniversaries at WGCU. Our 15-member Public Media Advisory Board represents a cross-section of our viewing and listening area, and this past year we welcomed new members Linda Penniman, Rick Solom, Zuleika Quintero, Michael Hirsch, and Steve Vesey. And we also said farewell and thanks to retiring member Mindy Simon. There's a lot to look forward to in the coming year. WGCU is embarking on an ambitious plan to become a leading provider of local journalism in Southwest Florida, providing an in-depth, comprehensive reporting on issues directly affecting viewers and listeners and readers throughout our coverage area. And you'll be able to access all of our platforms live on your phone, on your tablet, laptop, or desktop at WGCU.org or on the WGCU app. So happy streaming. And finally, next year, as Jim told you, there will be someone else delivering WGCU's annual report to you. After 12 years at WGCU and 52 years in the broadcasting business, I've decided to retire effective next June. These 12 years have been the most rewarding of my career, and I want to thank you all for the support you've shown me and WGCU through recession and recovery, through plenty and pandemic. And yesterday, today, always, you can count on WGCU to be there for you. Thank you for being there for WGCU. And now a word from Mimi Gregory, our WGCU Public Media Advisory Board member.
Welcome to our boardroom, where all the serious stuff takes place, and then occasionally the opportunity to pay tribute to a great supporter, not just of our station here, WGCU, but also WNET in New York. This plaque, given to Beverly Lundquist in 2016, recognized her as an advocate, ambassador, educator, leader, and a mentor for public television at both here, our local station, and national levels. But she also had another great talent, that as a recruiter. When Beverly saw somebody talented, she seized the opportunity to make connections. And it appears that she did just that in introducing Rick Johnson to Paula Kerger, President and CEO of PBS. A dozen years later, it appears that that introduction served us very well. And indeed, here is Paula Kerger to say a few words.
Hi, I'm Paula Kerger, President and CEO of PBS. I've been asked to say a few words about Rick Johnson as we celebrate his pending retirement. Now, I know there are others that will talk about all the work that he's done in public broadcasting over the years, all that he's contributed to the community. But I thought that I would speak for a few minutes about Rick Johnson, my friend. Rick and I got to know each other working in public broadcasting on various projects. But when I really got to know him is through a mutual friend, Beverly Lundquist. You see, Bev was a really engaged volunteer at WNET, which is the station where I worked before I came to PBS. And when she moved to Florida, one of the first things she did was to connect with her new public broadcasting station. Through her, I got to know Rick. I came to Florida for some visits, and I saw firsthand how he not only treasured her work as a volunteer and how much he supported the volunteers at the station, But in the later years of her life, particularly when she was so terribly sick, I saw how careful and tender he was with her and made her feel that her contributions to the station were so profoundly important up until the very last weeks of her life. To me, that spoke volumes about Rick as an individual, as a caring man. To me, that marked a true leader. And I'm so proud that I have been a friend of Rick's over the years, and I look at all that we've accomplished together. And I just want to say, my friend, that I hope you have an extraordinary journey as you begin down this path of retirement. But I also truly hope that you will stay engaged with public broadcasting, because we need you. You know, now you can be a volunteer, and we'll be counting on you for your leadership and your counsel and your guidance as we face an array of interesting challenges and opportunities ahead. I wish you the very best. I know that it's going to be a great journey ahead, but please stay close to us, my friend, because we very much need you. Best of luck and good luck.
Rick, 12 years ago, you began the road from analog to digital. You manned the mic with all of us here for Pledge, guided us to glory with all those Emmys, held back the winds and water of Irma to keep us informed, and even acted as the intrepid zookeeper of Daniel Tiger. Whatever will we do without you, except to wish you the very best.
Well, thank you, Mimi and Paula, for that totally surprising and very generous video. I really do appreciate it. Now, you folks, thanks for watching, and stay tuned right here, right now, for a little taste of what's to come on your favorite PBS station in the very near future.
Pay attention, please. I got something I gotta tell you. I was raised to believe no dream is unreachable.
You can't get in the way of a good story.
Hemingway is this enormous talent.
That's wonderful. What I got is the new thing.
The game just got bigger. Did you?
It's better than
Wow.
Tell the world, spread the word.
It remains a fast-moving story.
Get to the bottom of it.
This is what adventures are made of.
Slime molds. How could you not love them?
Phenomenal. What you about to see.
That's pretty amazing. I can't believe it myself.
Wow. I'm speechless. I believe this right here is the best.
Oh, that's some hot gossip for you, isn't it?
It's better than
I love bringing other people together.
I feel like I'm doing something important.
How powerful is that?
Stay curious.
The great thing is to last and get your work done. And see and hear and learn and understand. And write when there is something that you know, and not before, and not too damned much after.